What if someone told you that there's a foolproof betting system that actually works, a way of picking winners which never fails? Would you be interested? The stunning thing about this system is that it gives out real winning tips, hours in advance, plus the scammers sharing them can prove their results. They'll even make you a bunch of money up front. And it all sounds very honest and open, right? Well, if you think so, you're the perfect target. This is a scam that you're more likely to see in 2025 than ever before. On one hand, it's very, very smart. And on the other, it's incredibly simple. So in this video, I'll reveal everything. If it saves just one person from getting scammed, it will be absolutely worth it. The scam can involve tips offered on any sporting event. It works best with racing, so I'll use that as an example in a second, although it happens on football too. I'll explain why in a second, but racing generates over £4 billion each year in Britain alone, so it catches a lot of people out. Now back in the day, your average punter who walked into the UK bookies would only bet on UK races, and that's if they weren't at the racecourse itself. Nowadays, with most betting taking place online, with live feeds of racing from all around the world, you can bet 24/7. Now the majority of punters lose, but a select handful make an absolute fortune. So when someone claims that they can prove their prediction skills, it gains attention. No big meaningless claims about the past or results or anything like that. Actual proof here and now going into the future that you can see with your very own two eyes. And that is how their tips never fail. So here we go, it's a wet weekday morning and a text message has just come through. Now the name of the tipster doesn't really matter in this situation, I'm just going to call him Dodgy Dave. The message reads, I've been a pro gambler for 30 years, I pick my races very carefully and I don't lose. So try these tips for free and see for yourself. And first up is tip number 1. It's for the 205 at Doncaster tomorrow, where it's at a price of 10-1. Now the tipster says that yellow car is going to win, and you think, well, I've got 20 quid in my account, well, I can afford to lose it, so I'll just stick it on and give it a go. The next day, I set a reminder and follow the race live. Now, what do you know? Yellow car canters home, and I'm a winner. Result, tip 1, I'm up £200. I'm on my way and so is the scam. So what happens next? Well, sometime later I get another message come through. It says, I've seen firsthand that the system works. Now there's a next tip, which again it says will not fail. It's for the 1:40 PM at Sedgefield tomorrow, where at a price of 6-1, he says that Senfar is gonna win. Now with my original £20 and the £200 profit, I now have £220 in my account. Dodgy Dave isn't telling me what to bet though, and I'm still feeling cautious, so I place a modest 50 quid on Senfar to win the next day. Now, I'm a bit busy so I forget to tune in, but a little later on I remember my bet. So I go to my bookies account and hey presto, it's happened again. Just like promised, that's a 100% hit rate from 2 races. Now, everyone knows that that's a hard thing to do. If those 2 races both had 6 runners, that's a 1 in 36 chance. So how is he doing it? Now all will be revealed very soon. But after tip number 2, I'm up £500 now, and as far as I'm concerned, everything is looking good. I tell a friend about this foolproof system though, and they're not impressed. This is what they say: if someone knew which horse would win a race, why would they pass it on to others when they could make bigger profits and by keeping it secret for themselves? And it's a good question. So I asked Dodgy Dave, and his reply is, I always win, but the bookies don't like it and I've been gubbed. So I sell my tips instead, and that's how I make my money. Now, as you may know, the truth about gambling is that you're not supposed to make a profit, and if you do, the bookies will restrict your account. So what the tipster is saying here actually makes total sense. Plus, with the free tips still coming, the system is convincing, so why question it? Now, the scam is based around what psychologists call a cognitive bias, a systematic error in thinking affecting how we make decisions. Now, flaws like these are perfectly capable of getting us into a lot of trouble, even without the help of anyone else. They've been doing so since the dawn of time, but for the ruthless 21st century scammer, they're there to be exploited. There's a few different flaws in the way we think happening here, but they all revolve around a bigger one called confirmation bias. Now, confirmation bias is a tendency to seek out and prefer information that supports our pre-existing beliefs. We're all hardwired to look for patterns and systems which work. Even when faced with hugely improbable odds, we like to think that things can come out as predicted because the alternative is obviously chaos. I don't like chaos, so I want to believe that this system works, and when it does and I see success after success, it confirms my preference. What matters though is what I'm not seeing. So Dodgy Dave has been in touch again to say well done on my winnings, and we're on to another free tip. This time it's for the 1:40 PM at Punchestown tomorrow in Ireland, where at 4-1 he says that Slurricane is certain to win. My confidence is obviously growing, so this time I stick on £200. Day turns to night and then turns to day again, and I follow the race with live updates on my phone here. And all my days, he's done it again. Slurricane is the winner. After 3 tips, I'm now £1,300 in profit. Lovely jubbly. Now Dodgy Dave's hit rate is 100% and I can't wait for my next tip. But then the hours tick by. I check my messages and nothing. I know what's coming. I need to start paying. But that's okay, as long as the price is right. And then finally, it's time to subscribe. He says, I hope you enjoyed your free tips. 100% hit rate continues with more daily tips for you if you subscribe now. So at this point I'm thinking, oh, here we go. What does this cost? Well, there are plenty of tipsters out there with pretty average records charging £20 a month, and I'm currently 1,200 quid up. So when Dodgy Dave asked for £1,000 for a 12-month subscription, I think, well, he does have a 100% success rate, and this is for 12 months, so I pay the money and look forward to getting my next tip. But the scam is now complete. I may get some more tips, and the first might even win. It probably won't though, and most likely of all, I'll never hear from Dodgy Dave again. This is how the scam works. The scam can take several different shapes, and I'm going to run through some of those at the end, but the basic idea is always the same on the way through. Let's look at my example. Prior to coughing up the cash, I had indeed been given several winning tips in a row. Now that much is true. When I saw the win with my own 2 eyes, what I didn't see however is that I was actually one of several thousand people who received tip 1. Because the only thing the scammer needs to get things started is not years of experience, horse racing know-how or gambling industry knowledge, it's just a mailing list. So to keep the math simple, let's say that each race Dodgy Dave predicted featured 6 runners. That's just a little smaller than the average UK race with just over 8 runners, but it helps with the maths. Now let's say that our scammer starts with a big mailing list of around 100,000 people. Your data is very much for sale, so mailing lists like that are easy enough to buy. And then let's say that about half of the people on that list opted in to receive the tips. 46,656 to be exact. You'll soon see why. In bet number 1, those 46,656 people were divided equally across 6 different horses. I was one of the 7,776 people who were told to back Yellow Car. 38,880 people who were told to back the other horses are now out of the scheme. Lucky them. Now in bet number 2, we're divided again equally across the 6 different horses. I was just one of the 1,296 who were told to back the winning horse. Same for R. The rest are out of the scheme. And then finally in bet 3, the 1,296 people were again divided across the 6 different horses. I was one of those people who won, which means that there was 216 who were told to back that winning horse, Slurricane. The rest are out of the scheme. And now those 216 that are left are asked to pay. Now obviously we wouldn't all do so, and it is £1,000 after all, but 100 of us do. And bingo, for a weekend's work, the scammer has made £1,000 times 100 people, which is obviously £100,000. Nice. It's what's called a reverse pyramid. It started out with a mailing list of 100,000 and ended up with 100 people being scammed, with thousands of others throwing their money at random tips. But it's important to remember that this scam can take many different shapes. It could be on football betting, and it doesn't even have to be on individual results either. In my example, the scammer loses most of his mailing list after each race. Instead, some scammers might offer back or lay tips to retain more punters on their list, as there's only 2 potential outcomes. In some schemes, they might offer your money back if one of the tips even fail. There are many different ways that this can work, but the key is always the same. Be wary, even when results are on offer. Check everything, including this next video where I took a deep dive on sports betting tips as results for 30 days. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.